back. And I'm very, very excited to bring you the latest information on the conflict between the US, Israel, and Iran. Now we got information that the apartment of Benjamin Netanyahu and Ben Gavir got hit yesterday after the announcement of the new Iranian Supreme Leader, Ayatollah Mojtaba Khamenei. Out of excitement, multiple rockets, multiple wave of precision guided targeting was done deep into Israel. And ladies and gentlemen, radars were knocked out, network system, communication system were knocked out, electricity system was knocked out. Like Iran poured, and they did not fire one, two, three. They fired up to 5 times last night. And there's the defense capability of Israel. I can categorically tell you today, the defense capability of Israel is now down to probably 2%. Why am I saying 2%? I got receipts. You know what? You know how we do it on the Android community. Now, before I show you the terrible situation of the Israeli defense system, the first thing first is that America has destroyed the capability of the Israeli defense system before this war started by incorporation of American system together with the indigenous Israeli system. So I don't know if they can work together. But what we are seeing from Israel right now is that multiple interceptors keep getting launched, and we are seeing less than 2% success. Now, we are seeing speed. We are seeing high technology from Iran, and we are seeing variation. When we mean speed, we are talking about hypersonic technology. When we mean high technology, we are seeing, when you look at the way the Iranian ballistic missile now move, the flight path is a mystery for the Western defense system, not just the Israeli defense capabilities. Another thing that we are seeing now is the variation of the strike capability of Iran. Now we are seeing the Khorram Shah 4, the Khyber Shekan, the Emad missile, the Gandar missile. We are seeing the Fatah 2 and the Fatah 1 being fired in a single wave. So the Israeli system is now dealing, the Israeli defense system is now dealing with a sophisticated complex. You have different, when you have multiple capability, you have a complex. But within this complex, there is a huge variation. Now, when you fire some old ballistic missile, and all the ballistic missile is moving in a ballistic path, and they all have almost the same speed, and the design is almost the same, when you look at the multi-radar integrated system that the United States has built around the Persian Gulf for many years, it gives Israel the opportunity of an early warning, good targeting, nice interception. But the problem we're having right now is that, number one, Iran has blinded the American system by destroying, the multiple radar system they have. Some of this radar system that are still functional are partially impaired. So the interception time, the interception success, everything has gone down the drain. So what we saw yesterday in Israel was very, very threatening. And we have some Israeli citizens now going, out of their way to bypass the Israeli censorship and restriction. And now they're telling the world that the situation in Israel is very, very dangerous right now. Yeah, there is now. Let me support the Western media. Okay, let me support the Western media. I want to support because when this information came out, the Western media denied. They said it's a lie. They said Benjamin Netanyahu's apartment did not get hit. According to the information, Benjamin Netanyahu at the time of impact was not at home. But they said his brother got hit. And according to the information, he got killed. Now, that is just a part of it. Allegedly, the Western media denied. And I want to tell you that there is a reason why the only fact-checking media that we have alive right now in this lifetime of our lifetime is the Western media. I want you to look at this multiple wave of ballistic incoming. And I want you to look at how devastating the resultant effect can be. That was last night. Okay, guys, we got to get off the roof. These are coming down right next to us here. They're coming down. One just about. We got to go inside. So, that was last night. It was devastating. Last night wasn't good at all. And that's because we're having a reduced effectiveness in the Israeli defense capability. Now, we should remember that the US-Israeli coalition set the precedent. Like I said, by eating the school children, you eat those school kids. There is no argument anywhere that can, exonerate you from soft targeting, double tapping, carpet bombing. There is no argument anywhere for this. Now, the second person that got hit was Ben Gavir. Now, everybody all over the world that pays good attention to geopolitics, everybody knows Ben Gavir and is pro-Abrahamic Accord stance. We actually posted a video on our Telegram channel some days earlier where everybody on the Telegram channel saw what Ben Gavir was telling a Palestinian citizen, that he's giving him 2 hours to evacuate his landed property that he has paper certification to. He told him that by the time he comes back, he will tell the security to arrest him on his land. So this is somebody that is very notorious for land grabbing. According to the information too, now, these things are not, you just take it with a pinch of salt, okay? We heard that Ben Gavir got hit in a different episode of the strike. According to the information, they said Ben Gavir was in a critical situation. Now, according to the backup, they said it's a lie. They said nothing like that happened. Now, BBC this morning came out and said, there's a report coming out from BBC. They said Ben Gavir had an accident last night and it's in a critical, it's in a critical condition. So there is a synergy between the initial report that Ben Gavir got hit and he likely would not survive it because the situation was very, very bad. And now BBC is coming out to say that Ben Gavir had an accident last night and is in critical condition. So which one is it? I don't know which one to believe, but I'll leave that to the people to judge. Whichever way they are looking, you all are going to assess the information. But that is the information we have right now. If he's going to survive, we don't know. So what are we looking at right now? Iran is now targeting top Israeli politician. That's what we are seeing right now. everybody, everybody have seen the video of the measure of one of the states in Israel. The measure was targeted in I think in a mall where he was shot, an assassination attempt. If he survived, we don't know. But the claim that came after was that he already, he was already eliminated. So we are seeing a situation where the Iranians, right, they are not throwing the kitchen sink at Israel. One of the words of Ali Larijani is, or was that, you've hurt us very bad and we are not going to let you go. So the question we should be asking right now is, when Ali Larijani said, we are not going to let you go, is this what he meant by we are not going to let you go? So I will leave that to the public opinion. Now, we have a very, very big information coming out right now again. According to some Israeli citizens, electricity right now in Israel. So after the strike last night, this is the situation. In some of the Israeli, provinces, that's the situation. The situation is, is very, very bad. We can't deny. Now, because of the recent escalation inside Israel, that is now going beyond censorship, we now have something going on right now. The Israeli securities, they are now destroying cameras. Look at it. Then you are going to see another camera now. So, according to information, we don't know why they are doing this. They are seriously removing cameras. According to that Israeli citizen, it's not that you cannot take picture. If they catch you, you are in trouble. But it's not the fact that you cannot take picture. You can take picture. But getting the picture out there is the problem. Because of, should I say, the firewall that have been created. I don't know if there is a collaboration between, this Western media and all of that, So now we have a situation. I want to read the comment of that Israeli citizen. But before we get there, when Donald Trump was talking about negotiation, first of all, let's analyze the type of supreme leader they are trying to negotiate with. This is Mojtaba Khomeini, right? Mojtaba Khomeini fought wars from the age of 17. When I saw him at the age of 17, he looked so soft with the glasses on his eyes, damn decimated. Yeah, we know about that. It's a tit for tat game right now. Yeah, we know. Now, according to information, the US and Israeli coalition, they killed his father, they killed his mother, they killed his wife, they killed his son, they killed his sister, and they killed his brother-in-law. So when Donald Trump talks about, unconditional surrender, I want to believe that they know who they are talking to. So, I mean, I don't know if there will be, if we are going to see the end of this conflict, honestly speaking, because that is the new supreme leader of Iran, who had his entire generation, like, should I say his family or whatsoever, he had his life completely shut out. Why is still alive? So let's see what happens. But what we are seeing right now is a lot of Iranian top, defense leaders. They are now bragging. That's what I can say. According to one of them, he said, joy is coming. He said the Iranians are about to smile. He said from their assessments, he said the Israeli defense system, the interception rate has become very poor. He said the defense is diminishing. They have less interceptors. He said, and by next week, that we're going to see a change in the intensity of the war. We will get to some of these comments. But first of all, let's read the comment from this Israeli citizen. Look at the name, right? This is an Israeli citizen on X. She said, and I quote, Israel, the situation tonight in Tel Aviv is unbearable. And the Israeli air defense failed to intercept most of the missiles. So, ladies and gentlemen, you saw that video I showed you earlier. Okay? This is a confirmation that the video was legit. Failed to intercept most of the missiles coming from Iran. Residential buildings have been destroyed. The situation is terrifying. The destruction is massive. And the casualties are even greater. And the Iranian missiles are still ongoing to this day, despite the blackout. So this is another information that we have not been able to assess, that there is blackout is on part of Israel. And according to the information we are receiving, the blackout is now becoming extensive because some of the power grids are getting hit. So let me finish what she said. And military monitoring of publications. He said, despite the blackout and military monitoring of publications. So again, this only, this only further backs up this claim that it is not the fact that you cannot capture videos. It is the fact that when you want to post this video from inside Israel, you are not going to be able to post it. And people are scared because there are some other anonymous sources that are saying that when you try to post this information, they can easily track you and arrest you. We have seen journalists being arrested. I don't know why Israel is, they made their decision at the beginning of the war that they don't want anybody to cover anything within Israel. Possibly they are saying it because of national security. Maybe they don't want anybody compromising operational security or communication security, because when you take videos, sometimes the metadata of those videos can be used to track critical sites and, location. Maybe this was why Israel is saying that we don't want, people to take videos and all of that. To the point that they had to start taking, CCTV camera off. I don't know. They should be the one to have access to the CCTV camera footage, right? So why are they taking it off? I can't give maybe the situation right now is top level security, situation right now. They don't want anything to get out. And it's not in our purview to decide for them why they don't want anybody to send out critical information about the situation in Israel. But what I think is this. When Iran strikes Israel heavy, what I think is Israel tries to retaliate in equal measure or even in something more devastating. But what I'm going to say is this. You can't take any military objective, right? You can't pick out any strategic objective in targeting civilian and in targeting school kids. Now, it doesn't take away from the fact that some Iranian security forces they've been killed. There are some tunnels that have been struck. There are some tunnels that have some missile stockpile deposits that have been hit, according to satellite imaging that we are receiving from the West. Now, again, I'm going to call out something that have been erroneous that I noticed today. There was a video, and this is embarrassing, right? There was a video that was being posted by the Israeli security outfits that they targeted some aircraft. And, the disgraceful aspect of this was that these were videos from the 12-day war. Like the success they had back then. They are posting it as, I don't know if they just try to, if they are just trying to make a video, whatever. But this is what they did today, and I just felt like you don't need it, right? In an existential conflict, you don't need public opinion. What you need is, what is your objective? Go out there, achieve your objective, and go. Now, if that happens to be the case, the question is, have we seen any objective being achieved by Israel? No. Number one objective is regime change, right? Number two objective is destruction of the nuclear infrastructure, right? Two. Number three is destruction of the missile stockpile. Three. Number four is destruction, complete annihilation and obliteration of the Iranian Navy. Number five objective is, making sure that there is easy transportation through the corridor of the Strait of Hormuz. These five things, I can categorically tell you at this point that the American and the Israelis have not been able to achieve one of these objectives. If you have a proof that if achieved, maybe I don't know, I stand to be corrected. If you have a proof that if achieved any of these objectives, I will be your guest. But from the last time we checked, they've not achieved not even one. So this is a huge disaster to the reputation of the hegemon. Now, I don't want to talk about what the objective of Israel is when it comes to the Greater Israel Project, or when it comes to whatever people are claiming, right? All I want to talk about is, according to information, they said in the past 10 days, the Trump regime has changed their game plan more than 5 times. Regime change. The IRGC leadership structure continue to weather the storm. Because it's a storm, we cannot deny the fact that the United States has been able to prove that they have some of the best fighter jets, even though we have many F-15 fighter jets being knocked down, right? But the F-35 is still there doing, I don't know, right? But the United States have been able to show that they have an enormous level of capability. The carrier strike group. But Iran says something this evening that twice the USS Abraham Lincoln has come close, and twice they've hit the USS Abraham Lincoln. And according to the Iranian commander, he said the USS Abraham Lincoln strike group moved very far away. Very far away. He said he traveled 1,000 kilometers away from the region. He said the next thing they heard was that Donald Trump said they are now going to be escorting tanker around the Strait of Hormuz. But till now, they've not seen anything. According to him, he said Iran continues to develop new strike capability. He said they continue to develop new missile capabilities of different type. Now, he finished the whole conversation with, from now on, they will now be striking Israel with 1 ton of explosive in a single wave. I don't know if he's talking about a single strategic target, or if he's talking about the variation, of the entire target. Now, the problem we are having right now that Iran has really, really shown, which really, really gives a lot of credit to the Iranian capability, is they have achieved their first and main objective, which is to find some incredibly stupid US leaders to do their bidding. So, what we notice right now is when the Ahmad missile, right? Yeah, 1 ton. you have several kilograms, right? You have several kilograms. Like the Quran Shah 4 can carry between 1,500 kilogram to 2,000 kilogram. So probably when the fire multiple, I don't know the stockpile. We don't know the stockpile, of the Quran Shah 4. And according to the video we are seeing in Israel today, we were able to capture one of the sub-munitions that come out from the Quran Shah 4 that has it even carries its own independent explosive capability, right? And according to information, there are some shrapnels that are incorporated within these sub-munitions. So according to what the Israelis are saying now, they said this is they say using the Quran Shah 4 is war crime. Yes, that's the information they are given now. That when you use the Quran Shah 4, you are carrying out war crime. Okay? The missile can carry more than, it can carry 2,000 kilograms of explosive, according to information. So what we noticed now is that since the Iranians mentioned the name, since they announced the name of the supreme leader, Mojtaba Khamenei, as the new supreme leader, they have been firing multiple waves. I think they got too excited yesterday. They were so excited. We saw a particular video where a US strike, just landed some few meters, probably a building away from where the protesters were. And they continue to shout, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. You have to look at the determination of the Iranian citizens at this point. These people have decided to go to the kitchen sink. Look, their children have been killed. Their parents have been killed. Nephews have been killed. Cousins have been killed. The reason, look, for me, if the US have been critically targeting military infrastructure, they have been targeting command control centers, they have been, carefully orchestrating what they are doing, probably they might be able to, when everything marinates, the US might have been able to build up a situation for a regime change. Okay? But targeting the civilians. Now the narrative that is coming out right now is that even the civilians that are protesting for US invasion, they are now changing the narrative that this is beyond their control. Because when those birds start flying and those litters start dropping, it doesn't negotiate. Okay? It doesn't negotiate if you invited the United States or maybe you did not invite them. It picks out whoever. And when you carpet bomb, now look, you see, a lot of people don't understand. When you carpet bombing in a situation where you have clusters of building. When you carpet bomb a single building, that single building, the shock wave, and when you carpet bomb, it comes like the missile comes, strike the base of the building, the shock wave will it will disperse, and you see every building around that area. A good carpet bombing of a 2,000 kilogram warhead can delete 100,000 people in a single strike. Yes. And you have a situation when if the United States carpet bombs and Israel, because their aircraft is doing this, right? When they carpet bomb and probably some people escape also, or people want to rescue those that are escaping, they double bomb, which is double tap, amassing even more casualty. I don't know why they are doing it, but these are US and Israeli personnel that are doing this. Yeah, that is what they are currently doing. Okay, so before Israel can talk about somebody performing war crime, they should look at themselves too. What you did in Gaza, the world has not forgotten. But to be honest too, I kind of believe this war has gotten to a point. I'm hearing from some Israeli sources that this conflict will continue for the next 2 weeks. I don't know what that means. Maybe Israel is saying that they want to keep the intensity for the next 2 weeks. We are hearing from some sources, right, that negotiation will soon start for peace. Now, the breaking news of today is that Donald Trump has called he has called the Russian president. And according to the information we are getting now, they are now trying to discuss a way to have discussion on how to de-escalate the situation in the Persian Gulf. If they are going to be able to de-escalate, I don't know. I don't know. Because at first, this conflict, the dangers of this conflict did not get to this point. I'm not talking about the dangers we're seeing now. I'm talking about the future risk of this escalation. Because I can guarantee you, Iran, if they make it out of this conflict, but some of their citizens are getting killed, right? But like I said, if Iran comes out of this conflict, they've been able to download a lot of playbook of the US-Israel doctrine. Iran has a reputation for learning, improvising, adjusting, and overcoming. During the 12-day war, we did not see the Quran Shah fall. Let me give you what Iran does well. During the 12-day war, we saw a few hypersonic capability. And now, Iran saw that at some point, Israel ran out of defense interceptor. And what did they do in this war? They brought in the Quran Shah 4, knowing that the Achilles heel of the enemy, the production capability of the defense interceptor. And now they are shooting Quran Shah 4, a single missile, a single ballistic capability that has 80 submunitions. So that is 81 in a single strike. And now the Iron Dome, being, the lowest of all of them, that picks the short range munitions that are coming in, which has a distance of 1,000 kilometers, right? Is going to probably pick all the submunition. All of them is going to probably pick everything. So that is 80. And some of these things, and to intercept one, sometimes the defense capability is going to fire two interceptors. So let's say when they fire in 80, there is a probability Israel is defending with about 120 or 140. Now, when you are exchanging at this intensity, the question is, how long can you sustain that intensity? And most of the time we see that the main Quran Shah goes through, which is hypersonic. So if this war does not end in a conclusive terminal point, I can guarantee you everything the world is scared of, Iran will develop. I can guarantee you, because this war, their peace, their existence was threatened. If you've ever taken this level of firepower from your enemy, definitely you will know. If you don't know before, probably Iran did not know before. But put yourself, for those that I know that a lot of people love Israel, good for them. But if you are Iran, you are watching, that you are a supporter of Israel for whatever reason, if you are Iran and somebody come to you as an aggressor with this level of destructive capability, if you have the opportunity to reach a nuclear deterrence, would you not do it? That's the billion-dollar question. Would you not do it? Emmanuel Macron came out today and said that he condemns strongly the aggression and the retaliatory. Israel has the right to defend itself. Does Iran not have the right to defend herself? Now, when you say defense, a preemptive strike without they will come back next year. Yes, if there is a ceasefire, Iran should prepare for another war. Because I don't know, this war looks like a war that won't end. So the initiative is now with Iran to drag this war for as long as it takes. That is my own conclusion. That's my submission on this issue. If you are Iran and you love peace, this is the moment of truth for you. By next week, according to the speculation from some of the Iranian leadership, they said Israel will be significantly down on interceptors, right? So the billion-dollar question is, that's a speculation. We don't know if any of that is true, right? But if that happens and Iran continues to strike, what will Israel do in return? What will Israel do in return? Will they employ a tactical nuke? You know? So we are seeing the escalation ladder gradually shifting. And according to the information we receive now, the Hezbollah group in Lebanon continues to fire. And this evening, they've been able to take out a lot of communication satellites. They've been able to destroy a lot of radar system. What happened? In return, the Israeli regime returned an enormous level of fire on the location, allegedly, of Hezbollah in southern Lebanon. At the time of this report, according to the information the Israeli news outlet claimed that over 200 casualties on the enemy side was recorded, and they said 2 IDF soldiers lost their life in the process. We've not been able to verify this information. We've not been able to see anybody. We did not even see the body of the dead Israelis, right? We did not see their bodies, right? We did not see the body of the Hezbollahs. But the Hezbollah Special Forces, the Radwan units, they've released another video. And when you look at their mode of operation, their methodologies of combat, in this particular video, you can see that the Radwan forces are, they are deploying the asymmetric technique. Hezbollah knows one thing, that in a standoff combat situation, they don't have the luxury of the capability of the IDF. I'm talking about, the generation of air supremacy and all of that. But I think they are making good use of the capabilities that they have, which in a situation where you have the IDF going into Lebanon, we don't know what can happen, right? But Israel continues to take the advantage of the air supremacy. But right now, southern Hezbollah is still highly contested. As at this evening, we are now getting information that the Israeli leadership are now talking about focusing heavily on the southern Lebanon. If that is going to happen, how that is going to happen, I don't know. But we might now have a situation where the US forces might concentrate their attention on Iran, while the Israelis might try to put their focus on the Hezbollah theater of operation. Now, the president of Lebanon said that he condemns the attack of the Hezbollah, militia. But my question to the president of Lebanon is, at the end of the day, your territory is being taken. At the end of the day, a sovereign territory has been taken. You've not done a single thing. Can you declare, right, that the Israeli citizens should move 30 kilometers away from their sovereign territory? People that have been here for only God knows when, their ancestors were buried on that soil. If you tell the Israelis to move from Israel territory, what would happen? You see, the fact that the Hezbollah president had the guts, the cojones to, should I say, chicken out, run away, and we are not even seeing the Hezbollah forces doing anything. And at the end of the day, the guys that have enough heart, enough passion, enough desire to fight for their land are fighting, and you're telling them not to go back. Now, we are not saying that in a standoff situation, we are not saying that, anything might change, but any fight is a fight that is worth it as long as your existence is threatened. You lose a chance 100% when you don't even attempt at all. So for me, right now, I take my hat off to the Lebanese Hezbollah forces. They are better. I feel like the real military unit of Lebanon right now are the Hezbollahs. But I don't know what the plan is. I don't know what the calculus of combat will read by tomorrow morning. But this night, southern Lebanon is going to be chaos. Because this is the time when, the asymmetric counteroffensive has the biggest probability of overwhelming, the capabilities of the invading forces. Because the Israelis are coming in to Lebanon with armored tankers, right? To probably blow off defensive structures, probably to level buildings off, right? They said they're trying to create a buffer zone. Okay, that's the information. They said they want to create a security corridor, a buffer zone, right? But in a situation where you've not been able to level the whole place and you don't have a playing field, there is danger. There is an enormous level of danger for the Israeli forces. So now, what we have in Iran right now is that in a situation of a long conflict, the Americans are going to face a very dangerous situation. Now, let's give a lot of credit to the Iranians for one thing and one thing alone. A lot of people, they've taken a lot of credit away from the Iranians in this conflict, which I don't really give a lot of, I don't give my heart to. Everybody talk about the Russian intelligence. Everybody talk about the Chinese satellites, imaging, targeting, and all of that. But nobody has talked about the fact that the Iranian defense system continues to work even right now. Okay? The Iranian defense system continues to function even right now. Yes. The offensive capability of Iran, which is still in production as we speak, right? They are indigenous. And remember, the drone capability, the Shahid, the Geran, everything originated from Iran. So it means when it comes to technology and innovation, Iran is in. But we know that the Russians have been able to turn the drone into a cruise missile, right? They've been able to power it with a jet engine. The Russians are very, very good. I take my hat off to them. But we cannot talk about the gains of Iran and, the game, because they've been able to deal a devastating blow too. This evening, along a certain route in Israel, one of the sub-munition of the Khorram Shafar damaged the road completely. All the cars had to stop and all of that. Well, I don't know what to say about that, but I would say a lot is going on right now. A lot is going on. The U.S. forces military base in Bahrain, they destroyed completely. Now we are now having a situation where some of the capabilities that are still there, the U.S. forces are using it to retaliate again. Because now people don't understand something about war, any type of conflict. At first, you go in with objectives. Yes, at first you go in with, okay, this is my objective. This is it. That's professionalism. But we all know that not all military personnel are professional. Most especially the U.S. forces, the personnel that struck the girls' school. According to information, there were even some girls that were outside. And this strike happened in broad daylight. Now, I don't know if they can actually see clearly if those were kids, right? But you hit the first time, you hit the second time. Now, when you hit with a Tomahawk, right, which is a cruise missile, from that distance, it was very, very close. It means you can have a double effect of devastation. Because a cruise missile is supposed to power a capability, a munition to a certain level, right? Probably to the impact zone. But by the time it gets to its impact zone, some of those cruise missiles, they've completely used up their fuel. But from that distance, right, where the cruise missile was shot, it means that there are still fuel within the Tomahawk engines. And what does that mean? It will create a serious level of blast. That is like creating primary and secondary combustion right there. The explosive will bring about the first impact. The fuel in the engine will contribute now to create a bigger blast. They dropped it twice. They double tapped those children. So how do you argue? How do you even sleep at night doing that, knowing that you just killed children? I'm a man, and I know how it feels. Don't even talk about children. How do you kill women? How do you feel when you kill women? How, like, do you feel do you feel better or something? Now, what we have now in this conflict is that Iran is currently defeating, okay? And when Pete Hegseth is being asked, he says only one thing, that they are investigating. All right. So my thing right now is that in this conflict currently, Iran is currently dictating the tempo of this conflict. I will explain how. Iran still has multiple strategic targeting to do, and they continue to do this every day. The IRGC released a statement last night before everybody went to bed that all their strikes completed, their targets. They completed their strategic objective. What does that mean? Iran started a 24 hours mission with well calculated objective. And at the end of that 24 hours, they were able to tick all the boxes. But the question we should be asking from our American hegemon is, what is your objective right now? That is what a lot of people should be asking right now. What is the US objective? Is he hitting the civilian infrastructure? Is he hitting? Because normally, let's be honest. There was a strike close to the Bushehr, nuclear site, okay, where the Russians are stationed and all of that. We know that the precedent for that level of escalation has not been set, but we know that Israel can very well strike that site. If they strike that site, what would be the retaliation from Iran? Because what we are seeing is that Israel set the precedent, Iran takes the initiative and the follow. Okay? But now, I think the conversation has changed completely. Okay? Why am I talking like this? Because to target Benjamin Netanyahu and go for Ben Gvir, I think a lot of us that are seeing this from the outside, right? A lot of us looking at this conflict from the outside, we are looking at this conflict from the perspective of, okay, missiles are flying, But I think there is a level of field that is currently being invested into this conflict. Okay? It's now gone from a strategic war, it's now becoming something personal. Yes. Initially, it was strategic. Take out their missile capability, take out the industrial capability of the Iranians, probably take out some of their scientists to make. And if you look at that aim, if you look at that mission on its own, it's almost impossible. How? If the Iranians were importing their weapons, yes, that's a very good objective. You take out the aircraft, you take out the missile stockpile, you take out everything, the mission is complete. You can go home. Everywhere is Delta Hotel. But in a situation where the engines they are using, everything is indigenously made, I don't think you can ever complete that objective, except you want to genocide the entire population. The Iranians have been able to show that they are very, very intelligent. Right now, I can tell you that covertly, a lot of people are going to be consulting the Iranians after this war for intelligence sharing, for intelligence transfer on their technology. Because we used to talk about hypersonic. Iran is now changing the conversation around this whole hypersonic, topic. Because the speed of the Fatah 2 for me is unbelievable. If you watch the video, you have to continue to watch that video up to 12, 13 times to come to terms with that type of speed. And if you look at a shock wave from that Fatah 2, is something different completely. And this is war. A lot of people don't understand something about war. There are some external players that people are not really focusing on. An external player like Turkey. Turkey has a vested interest in this conflict. Azerbaijan has a vested interest in this conflict. What am I talking about? The Zongguzo corridor. Azerbaijan, Armenia, and the United States were trying to make a deal on that Zongguzo corridor. And, Russia was still trying to gradually talk about it will not be in their interest for this deal to happen, right? They were talking about, I think, a 99 years lease with the United States and something. And Iran said, this deal cannot happen. It cannot happen. That if it happens, they are going to pursue everything through military means. So, some people, if you look at Azerbaijan, even though Azerbaijan knew that the drone strike was a false flag attack, they said they were going to investigate. Are you getting? You know, there is overwhelming evidence that it was a false flag attack. We heard that the strike was not from Iran. But what did Azerbaijan say? They said, we are still investigating. And guess what we saw next? Azerbaijan picked up 2 Iranians. Okay? And after they picked up those 2 Iranians, they framed them. Now, let me tell you why I think Azerbaijan framed them up. There was a time during the Russian-Ukraine conflict where Azerbaijan, the Azerbaijanis, let me put it that way, they arrested ethnic Russians inside their territory, beat them up, and tried to make a show out of it. Azerbaijan is a country that has a lot of enemies. And Azerbaijan knows the clock is ticking. And because they know that any type of escalation could be very, very catastrophic for them, they signed a security pact with Turkey and Uzbekistan, that in a situation of an escalation, Turkey and Uzbekistan is going to back them up. Okay? Azerbaijan, Turkey, they've been given intelligence information to the US, not Israel directly, but the US, using the NATO assets. And this is not even NATO war. Mark Rutte has said it. But at the end of the day, we surely know that if the US, if they tell Turkey, we want you to activate that NATO asset there, they're going to activate it because the US is NATO. Don't let anybody deceive anybody with this whole, So, as this war continues, what are we likely to see? I think Turkey will not want to escalate this tension because the president of Turkey said something this evening. The president of Turkey said that they know the people responsible. He actually blamed the Zionists. According to him, he said they know very well that the Zionists are trying to turn brothers against themselves and they are trying to escalate the situation. But what we do know is that Turkey is not innocent. So they should not try to claim that they are innocent. Now, let's look at the information of the IRGC General Moshin Rezai. He said, we will bring much better news to the dear Iranian nation in the coming days and weeks. According to him, he emphasized that Tel Aviv air defenses are weakening day by day, as both the US and Israel expected the war with Iran to be short-term. Ladies and gentlemen, see this information I'm giving you? This is the video. Right? He said, immediately, there is a significant change in the situation of the defensive capability of Israel, that the escalation will be very, very tremendous. So, ladies and gentlemen, are we going to see the United Nations activating their humanitarian conversation at that point? Thank you for the donation. I really appreciate it. Okay? Can we get Dangote on speed dial? Gas prices are insane right now. Absolutely. Absolutely. But the unfortunate aspect of this thing is that Nigeria is one of the best nations on the planet when it comes to natural disaster, when it comes to the type of weather they have when it comes to a lot of things. But you have the criminal political regime trying to destroy everything in that country. Nigerians are not benefiting. To be honest with you, Nigerians are not benefiting the way they should be benefiting. They are not living the way they should be living. But it's okay. Now, the war in Iran is almost over, according to Donald Trump. I actually said this. I said the best thing for Donald Trump to do, declare your victory and run away. That is the way this fight will end. You see, this whole conversation of me and Benjamin Netanyahu, that is how to escape. Now Donald Trump is saying him and Benjamin Netanyahu are going to, unanimously decide when the war will end. They are trying to tell you that when the stockpile is over, the US will tell you now it's time to go. It's time to run away, man. We should read the Bible before go against Israel or what? No, I don't believe in all of that, please. I don't believe in all of that. I don't believe that there is anything godly in you killing children. I don't believe there's anything godly in you, killing women. I don't believe in it. Look, don't even come with that conversation. I don't care about what was written in Job and all of that. You are talking to a brick wall right now because I don't even believe in all those things, So now, in his opinion, that's the opinion of Donald Trump, the US-Israeli war with Iran is significantly ahead of schedule. I think the war is practically over. According to Donald Trump, he said he thinks the war is practically over. We told you all. I told you. I said there are two ways this war can end. Declare victory and run away, because a long war will not favor Donald Trump. From every perspective. Okay? And the longer the war goes, the more you are going to see the influence and the interest of Russia, okay, and China play a very decisive part in this conflict, okay. So now, he said, significantly ahead of schedule. I think the war is practically over. They have no fleet, they have no communications, no air force. Their drones are being destroyed everywhere, including the production of drones. If you look at it, they have nothing left. Oh man, Donald Trump, stop this. How do you mean that they have nothing left? What are you talking about that they have nothing left? They just fired at Israel some couple minutes ago. They have nothing left in military terms. They have nothing left, said Donald Trump. Now, the question we are going to ask Donald Trump is that, have you even served in the military before in any capacity? So why are you saying in military terms they have nothing left, right? According to Donald Trump, he said, I think the Iran war is very complete, pretty much. So Trump won the war already. People are now asking that, does the Iranians, do they know that the war is over? That is it. I said it. There are two ways to end this war, because the longer it goes, the more embarrassing it's going to become. Like I said, Iran does not have to conclusively put the hegemon on the back foot. No. Survive and you win the war. Do your damage, any type of damage. Survive and the war, the world is going to do the rest, because they want to win a war of narrative, and that is impossible. You only win a war of narrative if you did not hit Iran first. The war in Iraq, weapon of mass destruction, they told on themselves. And a lot of people, when the US say all those things, you will say things like they are telling on themselves. No, the US has never ever for one day told on themselves. What they do is, when they do something, they will tell you they did it. They are not telling on themselves. They are trying to tell you that we can play it clean, we can play it dirty. We have all type of capability and all type of influence you can think about, we can control any type of escalation. Whichever way you want it, you are going to get it. That is what they are doing. When you hear them tell on themselves, they are not doing it to expose themselves. No, they're trying to kind of soft project power that we have the ability and the capacity to do and undo. And there is nothing international law can do about it. Welcome to 2026, the year of jungle justice. That is where we are right now. We are in 2026. The international law flew out of the window, and we have the jungle justice right now. That's what we have. There is no respect for international law. Because if there is respect for international law, I mean, do you know what they said? They said the next is going to be Turkey. They are already, look, these guys are already listing names. And the biggest shock for me is some people in the Gulf states, they've had conversations about the Greater Israel project. The Greater Israel. Right? Trying to control the entire Persian Gulf to part of Egypt. Right? And you are still supporting this plan. I don't understand. Are you trying to knock yourself out or what? I can't come to terms with how much of a puppet you have to be to even surrender your own existence. That is what it means to me. Well, I think the biggest chance and the most disrespectful part of this whole conflict is the fact that the terrors we end up benefiting. You know, the terrors. I'm talking about the UAE. I'm talking about Kuwait. I'm talking about Jordan. I'm talking about all these Gulf states. They are going to end up benefiting because at the end game of this war is that the US is not going to have the same type of influence in the Middle East anymore. Never. They are never going to be the same again. The US reputation after this war is never going to be the same again. There is only one way they can, kind of maintain that reputation. And if they do it, I don't know what is going to happen. Okay? Now, according to President Mashoud Pezeshkian, he said Tehran is ready for de-escalation in the Middle East if neighboring countries stop using its base to attack Iran, said the country's president. And in another information, he said, but the conflict with US and Israel continues. Okay? What they are saying now is that they will not be attacking the Arab states again, but Israel and the United States, they will not let go. They will fight till all the cow comes home. So, I mean, for the first time in our life, we are seeing a country that is standing toe to toe. Look, there is no way you want to argue this conversation, right? The fact that Iran, in their history, once upon a time, they will say there was a particular generation in Iran that stood toe to toe with the West. One for one. No. The history has already favored Iran in this conflict, okay? Boko is saying the country has only nine days of oil left. Wow. Yeah, there is a serious crisis going on. There is a serious, shortage of oil. Okay, now we have information, more footage of destroyed Israeli satellite communication complex after a strike by Hezbollah. So the strike is not just coming from Iran again. The strike is coming from Hezbollah. Look at it. So now there will be disruption of communication. So how long will this continue? How long? How long will this continue? So, but when information comes out, the next thing you will hear is we are controlling the escalation, we are doing this. Man. So, okay, Iranian dug out and show the debris of an American missile that hit the schoolgirls. So for Pete Exet and the rest that are saying that they didn't do it, so the Iranians have now dug out, the US capabilities that was being used to hit the children. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is a tomahawk. This is a tomahawk. Okay, this is a tomahawk. Exactly. Some of it looks like some of those generations they deployed in Nigeria in those first strike. Okay, So the Iranians are saying there is no need of you doing any investigation. We already did the investigation for you. So look at the tomahawk. So now the batch number, everything is on it. The batch number is there. The custom, the custom code, everything is there. And what is written on this thing is, I'm seeing Stanley Avenue, made in United States of America. Something like glide motto for. So this is a very huge evidence here. DLC Moto Inc. 2275 Stanley Avenue. Wow. Made in US. That is it. The custom number and everything is there. So, so if the United States, and I know that they will still deny it, that they will tell you that the Iranians made it up. We have now come to a point in life where so right now as we speak, the US and Israel, they've started striking Tehran again, but Iranians are still outside. Yes, even tonight the Iranians are outside. They are protesting. Some of them are even enjoying life, unfortunately. This is Tehran right now. So the question is, right, if this is Tehran, so where are all the strikes, all this US devastating strike? Where is he happening? Right? Where is it happening? I want to know where this strike, this devastation, where is taking place. According to the information that more massive strike in Tehran following IDF new wave of strike against the capital. Okay. According to Trump, he said why he started the war against Iran. I believe Iran was going to take over the Middle East. Had Operation Midnight Hammer not taking place, that would have been definite. Seems like we got a new reason with every passing day. So I don't know. Donald Trump cannot get out of this. And the funny aspect of this whole thing is this particular operation will live with Donald Trump forever. And the thing is, you don't get yourself out of this situation. The IRGC offers Hormuz passage to states expelling US and Israel envoys. Okay? Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps said any Arab or European country that expels the ambassador of the United States and Israel will receive full freedom of passage through the Strait of Hormuz, starting the next day. Sabri News reports. Wow. So Donald Trump is talking right now, but unfortunately, lately I don't listen to Donald Trump again. Because those people tell too much lies, and what they do, you can't just deny. You can't deny what they do to people and all of that. So at the end of the day, we'll see how the war is going to end. But I can guarantee you, we are not close to seeing a weak Iran. We are not close to it at all. If we are close to a very weak Iran, we would have seen something from China and Russia. I'm telling you, the only way Iran is getting weak is if you see the Chinese coming in, if you see the Russians coming in, then I can guarantee you that Iran is weak. But if you are not seeing that right now, oh my goodness. So, okay, according to information that we are receiving right now, 2 Israelis killed in the Iranian bombing of Tel Aviv. This is happening this evening. So a lot is going on right now, but let there be peace. Everybody should let there be peace. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. So according to President Erdogan, he said Turkey reports that an Iranian ballistic missile was intercepted over the eastern Mediterranean by NATO air defenses. Can you see now? NATO air defenses. Likely an SM-3 launched from a United States destroyer. Debris reportedly fell in Gaziantep. Turkish president, we reiterate our strong warning to all parties, especially Iran. Like I said, these people have their own vested interests. To avoid any step that threaten regional security and civilians, Israel stated that the next stage of the war is aimed at destabilizing the regime in Iran in order to bring about change. Well, we have not still seen any type of change. So, but if you are saying that this war will continue, we don't want to hear anything about negotiation by the time, by the time we don't want to hear anything about negotiation. So, so this is the information we have for today. We really appreciate everyone for coming. I really want to say thank you. I appreciate your time. It's time to go and work on some other things because I have been invited to a particular TV station program tomorrow to also talk about some of the cases of insecurity we have in our country. And I'm currently preparing on that. So tomorrow I'll bring you an update very early in the morning about what has happened all through the night so that you can keep up with the, escalation that is going on in the Middle East. Thank you very much and God bless you.